Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Wednesday, 26th of November. This video is for educational purposes only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. So let's have a look at what happened in the US market last night or yesterday. We had a pretty good day again, keep bouncing. Nasdaq 100 above the clouds, above 55 moving average. If it can close above 25,223, meaning that if it closes above this very bearish candle here we had on the 20th of November, if it can close above that level, then it squeezed out all these sellers there, and we could have re-established the bullish trend. We now have a bearish one, but it's really set to reverse here if it can close above this peak there from that day, and that could lead to a stronger bullish move towards a year end. Looking at what's going on pre-market, we can see here that the future, the Nasdaq future, is keep moving higher, and here we can also say that if we're looking at that peak there, well, at 25,310, well, then we are likely to be back in bullish territory. The S&P 500 flirted yesterday with the peak of that sell-off there at 6,770. It didn't close above, so let's see if we can do it today. Here pre-market is up a tad, so about 0.3%, and currently above that level. If we can also get RSI on the cash index back above 60 threshold, well, then we are in for bullish sentiment or positive sentiment too. The Dow Jones also strong bounce there yesterday, and it's back above this minor resistance there, and I would actually adjust that and say, well, it actually also above that sell-off day there on the 20s, so looks fairly strong at the moment if it can stay up there. And let's just have a look at the S&P 500 future, see how much it's moving up, and it's currently above that level there. So let's see if it can get up there. RSI is still negative though, so it needs to close above 60 threshold. Let's see if it's being rejected and slide back lower, and then it can come back under pressure. But for now, I'm cautious, optimistic. The Russell 2000 yesterday, very strong bounce on all the small caps. As we can see, we are very close to close above, back up above the cloud. We are above 55 moving average, very strong bounce. RSI very close to close back above 60 threshold. Let's see if it will be rejected or it will close back above. If it does, then could be more in store. So it seems like money is coming, investors coming back in, going into December possibly. In Asia, Hang Seng more or less unchanged this morning, just slightly up, just below the cloud. So it's still in a little bit of a limbo here around this rising trend line that it broke below, and now it's back above, but still below the cloud, still below 55 moving average, but above 100. Still slightly negative sentiment on the RSI, so I would really be cautious at the moment to see what's happening. But it could see that we could see it close above the cloud here, and then RSI, if it can get back above 60 threshold, it will further confirm bullish trend has reversed or had reversed to bullish trend. The Nikkei that bounced from the 61.8. This is the future 61.8 retracement, and still keeping this longer term, medium term bullish trend, still positive sentiment on the RSI. So still keeping above 48,000. As long as you stay above 48,000, I'm slightly optimistic that we could crawl higher. If it moves back above, and we can also add that to it, it's a sell-off there on the 20s at 50,615. Well, then we could see a bullish trend being resumed there too. And the European markets, they're a little bit more depressed, but it has a fairly good day yesterday on the EUROSTOXX 50, and we can see EUROSTOXX 50 actually bounced from the 40 threshold here on 2 occasions, so never closed below, which is quite a nice sign of some strength. We are back above the cloud and currently flirting with, or yesterday flirting with the 55 moving average, indicating we could see a bounce there. And if we're looking at the pre-market, it's actually pushing higher, 0.25% higher here, and I think we will see it crawl higher the next few days. Let's just go back to the actual cash index. As long as it can stay above 5,488, it dipped below here a couple of days ago, but it never closed below, so that is a key support. DAX index, also a nice bounce there. It was in negative sentiment, but after it managed to close back above 23,051 support there, well, then it could be in for a little bit more. Here pre-market we're up about 0.25%, so let's see if it can crawl back into some stronger move. It actually opened pre-market higher but set back, so still depressed a little bit there on the German markets. On the currencies, on FX, euro dollar, let's zoom in so we can better see what's going on. It has bounced from this sell-off there. Oh, we need to adjust a little bit. There we are, and it's currently trading around the 61.8 retracement at 115.93. So just almost touched the 116, as we talked about past few days. It could do that. It can actually bounce up to the 786 at 116.20. But there's really strong overhead resistance up in this area here around 116.55, 116.70. I doubted that it will move back above there, but let's see. So we are still in a bearish trend, but it was cut short here. If it takes out the lows there at 114.90, then there's room down to around 140. Sterling dollar tested resistance here at 132.15 yesterday. Could have another go at it. If it actually breaks above it, well, then we could try to guesstimate where it could move to then. And then we are talking about the region around 133, where we have the 200 moving average rising there, but the 55 coming down. So there will be really strong resistance in that area, and the overall bearish scenario could still be intact. If it's being rejected once again at 132.15, well, then it could slide back towards 130 level once again. The euro sterling, oops, let's just do that. So that's going to be interesting when we have the budgets. I think it's tomorrow in UK. That could really cause some stir on the sterling, especially against the euro. Still staying above 87.60, still in a bullish trend. Has been a little bit stressed, or yes, a little bit stressed here, with the RSI being in showing a divergence, so meaning uptrend exhaustion, but it could, if it takes out the peak there at 88.65, well, then there's room up to 89 and higher. So really key support there, and key support here at 87.25. That also could be tested during a very volatile, possibly a very volatile day, when the budget from the government has been released or been announced. Okay, moving on to dollar yen. That is flirting with this rising trend line here. That is not the strongest one. However, it is a good guideline. There's no divergence on the RSI. You can see actually the values are rising. Market is rising. So I think we will see higher dollar yen levels eventually, but we could still see a correction down to around 155, and if we get that, then I think we will bounce again, but there is risk lower, but the overall picture is bullish for dollar yen. Euro yen crawling a little bit higher this morning here, Still in a bullish trend, still no divergence on the RSI. As we can see, this peak over here is higher here than here, and market has moved higher. So I also think we'll see higher levels on Euro Yen above 182. There is room higher, and we have to go back all the way to 1990 to see levels, current levels. 188, I think it was back then, so there's really still some room, no strong resistance until then. Aussie Yen still staying above 100, 115 here, some support. Divergence on the RSI, but if RSI can get back above the falling trend line and stay above it, well, then we are likely to see higher levels on Aussie Yen. And let's have a look at the weekly, where we can see it spiked higher there earlier this week, last week, and trying to push higher. Oh, that's the wrong one, sorry. There we are. Last week it spiked higher, 102.40. If it takes out that, well, then there is not really much stopping and pushing higher. So keep an eye on that, what's going on here. For now, it looks cautiously bullish. Sterling Yen also still in a bullish trend. However, there is some divergence on the RSI, as you can see here. You can see that the values are declining, and you can do this. You can draw the trend lines yourself and uptrend exhaustion, but for now it stays above here, and we see all moving averages rising. We are above the cloud. We are still in a bullish trend, and I think we could see it being challenged, and then there's room up to around 280 on sterling yen. There you can see these peaks here back from July last year, 208. There could be room up to that. Aussie dollar bounced from the 64.40 minor support, almost got down to the support here at 64.15. That is key. So we are still in this range bound, bigger range bound, fairly wide range here, but with lower peaks. So the pressure is to the downside. You can also see that the 55 and the 100 moving average, they're declining. So the pressure is to the downside despite the fairly positive move today. I think we will slide back. Dollar Canada couldn't get up and take out the peak there at 141.40. I think it will do it eventually. Positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, but for now it's setting back a little bit. But you see 55 moving average coming up there supporting this. And if you're a really short-term trader, there we are. Then we can add a Fibonacci to it. It dipped to the 50%, could slide back lower to the 61.8 retracement and 140.30, possibly lower. But let's remove this. It's a little bit. Noise there or cluttering the chart. So 140.45, 144. The minor support, if it moves back below, then we could see a pressure to the downside here, but I think we will push higher. And if it takes out these peaks here, well, then we look at 142, 142 and a half. Sterling Canada, the spike up here when we talked yesterday was already had taken place to the 50% and the 55 moving average here, and then it got set back. Still negative sentiment, so let's see. I think it will slide back despite the fact that it took out this resistance there, 185.45, 50, but still 55 moving average coming down, 100 also slightly going down. It is the 200 moving average pushing it up, and so let's see how the next video. However, if it takes out the spike from yesterday, well, then there's room up to 187, and that would be key. What will happen there? Could it push higher, or will it again being hit down, knocked down? I think we will see it sliding lower here in the next few days. Swiss franc has been on the move lately. Couldn't keep up the pace here this morning, setting back a little bit, some profit taking maybe, but positive sentiment on the RSI indicating likely high levels. we have taken out these peaks here, so there's room up to around 93.85, maybe up to around 94, 94.20, and maybe even up to these peaks here around 94, 30, 40 level. But for now, a little bit of a setback, but positive sentiment indicating likely higher move. Unless it slides back below 92.70, then we have a completely different situation. Dollar Swiss couldn't keep up the pace either towards these peaks here and up to this area here. I still think it will do it eventually, but for now we are setting back a little bit. And again, if you're a short-term trader, I would add these Fibonacci to it and see, okay, we could see it sitting back maybe to the 38.2 retracement there at 80.15, and then a bounce, because you can see 100 moving average and 55 moving average coming up there, giving some support. We are above the cloud, and positive sentiment on the RSI indicating likely higher levels up to towards 82 level. If we get up there, it's debatable, but that's at least where there's room up to. The dollar index being sold off yesterday, sliding further back here, 61.8 retracement at 99.43 is likely to be tested. 100 spot 35 needs to be taken out for a move up to 101. So for now, it's a little bit of limbo, but we can see here we are still in a bullish trend, higher highs, higher lows, and so on. So still bullish trend is just being held back a little bit with this 200 moving average there declining. So the longer term trend is weighing on it, and it needs to catch up with the 55 and 100 moving averages that are arising here. Positive sentiment on the RSI, slightly divergent. You can see the RSI values declining, so it is a little bit fragile, the uptrend there. Moving on to gold, that has formed what could look like a triangle, symmetrical triangle-like pattern. It's not the most perfect one because there's quite a lot of white space here, but nevertheless, we have a triangle-like pattern here. Currently flirting with the 61.8 retracement of this last little sell-off there at 4,150. If it breaks bullish out of the triangle, well, then there's room higher towards 4,500, possibly even higher. If it breaks out to the downside, well, then we are looking at 3,886 as the first support, but then there could rebound down to around 3,700. I think it will be to the upside. We have still positive sentiment on the RSI, and if it moves back above 60 threshold, it will further confirm it. A break above 42, 45, this peak here, well, then it has certainly confirmed a bullish trend. Silver crawling a little bit higher here after a little bit of correction, so we are still in a fairly bullish trend. Positive sentiment on the RSI indicating higher levels. But you can see we have this double top like pattern in place, but I don't think it will materialize. It needs to move back below 45.50 to be confirmed. So for now, I think we will see a test of the previous all-time highs there, and possibly break higher. If it does, take out the peaks, they're just below 55. Well, then there's room up to around $60 possibly. On the platinum, that bounced off the support there at 1490, still lagging, so basically just trading sideways. Positive sentiment still, but it needs to get back above cloud, and especially above 1632, re-establish bullish trend. Copper, that jumped yesterday, trying to continue today. If we get the RSI back above 60 threshold, it will further support a bullish picture, and I think we will see copper crawling higher here in the coming towards the year, and we have the gold cross here between the 55 and the 200 moving average just here some time ago, but it's on the medium term trend, so it will take a little bit time possibly to materialize. Crude oil still under pressure. It's not massive pressure, but nevertheless we are overall picture bearish trend. We had a correction, and then we have this bearish trend here, also short term. Bounced a little bit yesterday after spiking lower. I think it will slide lower, but for now, RSI keeping itself above 40 threshold. We are in a negative sentiment after being below 40 here in October. If it moves back below and closes below 40 threshold, it will further confirm a downside pressure. And you can see all moving average 200, 100, and 55 still declining. The same picture, similar picture on Brent Crude, of course. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, then I think we'll see a push lower below $60. European nat gas also heavy, and still room down from around 28, 27.90. This support here goes far way back, and it's not that strong, so we could see it lower than that. Actually, negative sentiment further support the bearish picture on European nat gas. US nat gas really struggling to push higher here above 469. Despite the fact that there is room higher, as we can see here on the weekly, 490, the previous peak here from earlier this year, from in March. So looks quite toppy, so maybe we are in for a correction, but for now it's holding on up there. Not happy customers, consumers in the US, but there is a cold front on the most of North America currently, maybe weighing on it there. 414, 412, I could set back to this, but we can see 55 broke above the 200, they're both rising, same here, 55 and the 100. So we have some gold crosses here on the medium term moving averages, further adding to the bullish picture. On the yield side, we have the Euros 10-year Treasury yields bouncing from the 786 retracement there at 398. If it takes out the lows from this morning, well, we could see a push low to 390. On the European yields, we have EU. There we are, EU 10 setting back, and I think we could see sliding back lower. 263 is the key support. If it takes out that, well, then we're down here below 260 possibly. But I think we could bounce a little bit. Still positive sentiment on the RSI and some support here at 265, but key one 263. UK, that could be decisive. Also tomorrow we could see a lot of volatility with the budget announcement. But a lot has been leaked already, but let's see what's happening. We have this bounce here. Will it slide back or will it explode higher? If it takes out the peak up there at 462, well, then there's still room up to around 475. The Japanese still crawling higher, and I think it will crawl higher in the coming weeks. Positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence. Finally, on Bitcoin, trying to bounce the 38.2 retracement here at 90s, but 90,822 could be reached. There could be room up to these areas around just below 97, 98,000. Ethereum, more or less the same picture. 3,244 is the 38.2 first one, and there could be room up to 3,630 at the 61.8 retracement. But then we have 55 moving average coming down, putting a lid on it a little bit. So it's still bearish trend, but we do have a bottom reversal pattern in place, unless it's been taken out. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day, and talk to you again later.